Hey guys. Hey guys again. I'm saying again for me, not for you. Well, I guess so. If you're watching this for the first time, I mean, this is my second time recording this, so again for me, but hey. Maybe that'll just be my intro. Hey. Anyways, I'm going to be telling you about the story of me getting my gallbladder taken out. I'll do another one with my appendix, but that one was kind of a little bit boring. This one was a little bit more silly, goofy, didn't know what was gonna happen. Not clickbait. Not clickbait. So basically, what happened was I am in and out of the hospital. I have been in and out of the hospital the past few months. Not now. This happened in October. But before that, I had been in and out of the hospital due to pains. It could be ovarian. It could be... You get it. So, in September, like the last week, I think it was the last 2 weeks of September, I had gone into the hospital because I was having, abdomen pains. They didn't check my gallbladder. I told them that I had an appendectomy. They said that it was probably just a UTI, ovarian pain, whatever. So I said, okay. 2 days after that, I ended up getting a rash on my arm. And I was like, that's kind of weird. I was like, it's not even hot enough to be a heat rash. So I don't know why I have a rash. Keep this, well, don't imagine it. But just keep it in your brain for the last part of the story, I guess. But I ended up having a rash on my arm and it bruised up. And I was like, even when I do have rashes, they don't do this. And I don't really get rashes in general unless it's like an allergic reaction, which at that time, when I did get the rash, I hadn't had anything to eat all day. So what's going on? Anyways, so I think it was a day or two again after that. Oh, no, it was a day after I got the rash. I went to urgent care because I was like, it felt weird. And then the lady was like, it's a heat rash. I'll get you ointment. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm fucking stupid. Maybe I'm actually an idiot. So, you know what? Hell if I know. So, anyways, I think it was 2 days. Yeah, it was 2 days after I went to the urgent care for that rash on my arm. That day, the 2 days after, I woke up in pain. The worst pain I'd ever felt. I've had a lot of pain, with, but on a pain scale, this probably would have been a 15. And I am very, I have a really high pain tolerance, so that is saying very much so a lot. I literally thought that I was dying. And so I called my friend, and I was like, do you think you could take me to the hospital because I don't want to go alone? He said he has to find someone to come in, and then he would take me. So I was like, you know what, I'll push through. Also at this time, I couldn't really afford to have surgery because I was taking care of my mother alone. So this was gonna be a major setback. Not a major setback, but it was just So anyways, I waited for a few hours and it got worse. And then finally he got there. I said, serve. Now, the hospital is about 5 minutes away from where I live. And, but the reason it took maybe 30 minutes to an hour to get back to my house is because there was always something that made us come back to my house. My dogs ended up getting out of their crate on our way to the hospital and ripped open bags of trash. So then we had to go back to my house and pick it up. Anyways, I digress. So we get to the hospital, walk in there. I make sure I have my laptop and my phone, because at that time I was in, it was my first semester of college, okay? Anyways, so basically, I'm sorry, I got really quiet and I did not like that. But basically, we get in there, I tell the lady at the desk, and she checks me in, gives me a wristband, whatever. And then we wait like maybe 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I felt like I was gonna burp. Basically, I'm sorry I keep saying that. I'm sorry, chat. But I go in and I talk to the lady in this other room. I tell her what happened. They get me a room. Okay. So I sit in the room. I call my mom, tell her what happened. You know, if you've ever been to the hospital, you get the vibe. So anyways, we're waiting, and the doctor comes in, and I explained to him once more what was happening, and he said he like checked the pain, and when he got more upwards, that's where I felt the pain. And he said, right there? And I said, yeah. And then he like stopped and said, have they ever checked your gallbladder? And I said, oh. I said, no, they haven't. They've never checked my gallbladder, like ever. They've never. Yeah, no, they never have. And he said, okay, so we're gonna get a ultrasound. I said, okay. All right, if you must. So I get the ultrasound, and it was so painful. The lady was really sweet, but it was so painful. Anyways, then after the lady left giving me the ultrasound, my friend and I made a plan that he was going to help my mom, like take care of my mom if I had to stay. And at that point, my mom needed someone to go to the house, and I said, okay, just go check on my mom. It'll be good. He also had to leave to go do laundry, but if being at the hospital takes forever, so again, I wasn't thinking anything. Sorry, I'm out of breath. So he leaves, and I asked the lady if I could get any pain medication, and she said okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my phone, and the nurse comes in, and this is what got me. Okay, this kind of made me laugh. So I knew they gave me morphine before they even told me. So they set up like my IV, they put it in my arm, whatever. And then they said, this is, the medicine that we're going to give you. The way I knew it was morphine is because I know the way that morphine feels. To me, I've only had morphine twice. One was in January of 2024 and then that second time. So every time I've had it, or both times I've had it, my chest burns. It literally feels like my body is burning. Sorry. Excuse me. But yeah. Okay. So I felt my chest burning and I looked at her and she goes, "Oh, this is morphine." And I said, "Well, shit." So then so then she leaves and the doctor comes in and he said it was like a 30-minute something or other. And he comes back to tell me that my gallbladder was fucked. Basically, my gallbladder was fucked and that I would need surgery immediately. Not immediately, but like the next day. And I told him, I was like, "Oh, so actually I have to make sure my mom is okay. Is there any way I can leave?" And he told me, "No, because I would have to do this entire thing again and it would take even longer." And I said, "You know what? All right." So I called my friend and I told him the vibe. I told him everything that they just told me and that I was also on morphine. So if I was, if I sounded odd, that was why. So then we were both really stressed out, but him more than me because he didn't know what to do. Eventually, like an hour goes by and he comes back. We decide that he would be looking after my mom while I'm in the hospital, and he would be staying at the house. And we already told my mom that, so it was all set in stone. So I was like, well, okay, I guess. Shit. Like, I wasn't expecting this. I was just expecting them to tell me it was like a UTI. That's what they always do. Anyways, so like an hour or two goes by. I'm like mad chill. And then they take me to the room, like upstairs or wherever it's where I'd be sleeping. Okay. And I think he takes me in a wheelchair. I'm not too sure. But this nurse took me up to my room with my friend and yeah. They tell me that I have to wake up at 6 in the morning. My doctor would be there at like 9 and I had to take a shower at like 7, give or take. So I felt nervous, but then I also didn't. But I think it's like I didn't have time to process what was happening or what was going to happen. So anyways, I get into bed, I call my mom, my friend leaves, I tell him goodnight, and then I go to bed, and I set my timer for 6. So it hit 6. Well, they come in. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys. So throughout the night, like I had an IV. Throughout this entire stay, I had an IV in my arm. But yeah, they would come in, check my IV. They would do my vitals while I was asleep. You know. And, I wake up at 6 and get up. I have them take the IV out so I can take a shower. You get it. Potato. So, anyways, I'm sorry. This one's kind of boring. It's just me kind of... Anyways, It's just been on my mind. So anyways, I get out and I put on one gown on in the front and then one on the back, and then I tie it so y'all can't see my cheeks, because you have to pay for that. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. So I lay back down and I sleep until 9, and then I talk to my surgeon. Very sweet man, because I had to pull my gown up so he could check where he was going to be, you know. And then he pulled up, like, before he did it, he pulled the blanket up so he wouldn't see nothing. I said, you know what? Bare minimum, but like diva. Like, well, yes. Anyways, whew. Then he was asking me some questions, and I was like, yeah, I've been in and out of the hospital with the same pain, and every time they tell me that they think it's just a UTI or that there's nothing wrong, and then they send me back. And he laughed, and he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, it literally, if they had found it sooner, you probably wouldn't have had this problem. And I was like, it was also, I don't know. So anyways, he says that in an hour they're going to come get me, and then the surgery, whatever. I don't have it with me right now, it's in the car, but I have a Kodomi plush backpack, but it's not really like a backpack, but it, like, I don't know, I'll have to like show a picture of it somewhere. But I had that with me on my bed, but I was hugging it as if it was like a plushie. Like, well, it is, but you get it. So anyways, I go back to sleep, and then they wake me up, come get me, and they roll me out into a waiting room, where I talked to the anesthesiologist. And I was kind of just like waiting for a while. This happened so fast because when I was getting my appendix taken out, it felt like I waited 2 hours, which I quite possibly could have because I didn't have my phone with me. But no, it felt like 15 minutes this time. And so I was waiting, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take another nap. So I closed my eyes and I woke up, and that lady was there. I said, oh. Anyways, so basically she talks to me about everything that's gonna happen, makes me sign consent forms, yada yada. Okay, she leaves, I go back to sleep. And then finally they wake me up, and I said, okay. They take me to the bathroom because they didn't want to put a catheter in, and I said, thank God, thank you. And then they bring me to the, I don't know what it's called, but where they do surgery, I don't know. And they take me, I scoot onto the metal bed, they get ready, and this was so funny to me, okay? They were like, just count back from 10, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. Or they said count to 10, and I said 1, 2, 3. Actually, I don't even think I made it to 3. I said 1, 2, knocked out. Baby, I was gone. Asleep. It felt like 5 minutes. I woke up. I was already in my room. I said, bitch, how did I get here? Where am I? Help. And I realized, like, I had already had the surgery. I said, Rue, when was this? Help. And I, like, kind of look around, and the nurse walked in, and she was like, you're awake? And I said, I was like, yeah. And she said, how do you feel? And I said, tired. And she was like, are you in any pain? And I said, yeah. So anyway, she gave me some pain meds. I fell asleep. I didn't call nobody. That was the last thing on my mind, which I probably should have, but I couldn't speak. Dude, I had a tube down my throat. I don't know. Shit. Anyways, but then I took another nap for like maybe 2-3 hours. And then I like called my mom, called my friend, called my brother, and went back to bed. Now, let me say this. Whatever nurse I had that day was so sweet. And so every time I woke up, I needed help walking to the bathroom. Also, I'm going to be honest. So I thought that I would be nervous having someone stand there while I peed. I didn't give a fuck. Okay? I peed there and we were making conversation, eye contact and everything. I said, yeah. I'm sorry, like hey, they're getting paid to talk to me right now and help me. I'm gonna make the most of it. So basically the first day I just spent waking up and falling asleep. I didn't eat much, though I had jello and then chicken broth. Then normally they said that normally they would have them normally they would have a patient who had gallbladder surgery leave that night, but because I wasn't able to walk and I also wasn't eating much, they wanted me to stay another night. So that's what I did. Now the second night was pretty okay. I was talking more. I was still resting a bit, but like not as much. And what was it? Oh, and they were helping me walk farther. So the first day, I think for the first 4 times I woke up, they needed to help me to the bathroom. The rest I kind of just did by myself, which probably shouldn't have, but it got me there, okay? It also, that was probably one of the most painful things I've ever felt in my entire life. Like that surgery, healing from that. So anyways, the second day was much better. I was walking more by myself and I was eating more. I think I had 4 peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Yeah. Oh. Anyways, so then I get discharged. I go home. And it took me a little bit over 3-ish weeks to finally walk properly. I think it was a little bit more than that. But yeah, it took me a long while to start walking properly instead of hunched over and like holding onto the wall, gripping for dear life. But yeah, now I don't have many problems, though I can't really eat beef, which I still try to, unfortunately, and if you know, you know. But yeah, that was a fun little story time. So I hope you guys are having a good day, good night, good time zone. If any of you have ever had gallbladder surgery, let me know some good like food recommendations or like recipes if you have I guess, or tell me your story. Tell me how you found out you had gallbladders, or tell me the story of how you found out you had gallstones or needed to get gallbladder surgery. That'll be interesting. All right. Have a good day, good night, good time zone. Bye.